Hello, we have another Saturday food support group. So great to see you guys and get to talk to you. And today I just wanted to tell you all to shut up. There are so many times that we speak death over ourselves. We speak negatively over ourselves. And so when you're on one end of the pendulum, you got to go to the other end of the pendulum first sometimes, just to kind of like break that connection. And so if you are speaking negatively and thinking negatively about yourself, the way to get out of that and to get to the speaking positive is you have to shut up for a minute. You have to just quiet your thoughts. You have to stop those negative things, because I hate to get spiritual on you, but the power of life and death is in the tongue. And whenever we speak statements like, I have, heart failure, I have diabetes, I have mental illness, I have this, or I am this, that statement, I am, is literally creative. Like you are creating that existence, that reality. And so I really encourage you. And if you don't believe me and you want to believe science, that's cool. Go Google monster study. There was a study done in 1939 where they took orphans, and they took orphans that spoke with no speech impediment, no problems, nothing, and in one group, and then they took orphans that had that stuttered in another group. And in that group, they included 6 children who spoke perfectly, but they put them in the stuttering group. And so in each of the groups, this group, they said, you're doing great, you're doing awesome. And of course, their speech continued to be incredible and fine. In this group, they would condemn and judge and yell at even the 6 children who had that were speaking perfectly. They would read perfectly, and the moderators of the experiment would tell them, stop stuttering, don't do that, speak clearly, even when they were speaking clearly. And they developed a stutter. The scientists realized what they did. They tried to reverse it and couldn't. They couldn't reverse it. And so I really think that the whole point of that study is for us to realize that there is so much power in the tongue, good and bad. And so until you can speak good and think good, shut up. Just shut up and stop. And then start to think. And then look for the tiny little crumbs of positive things that you can say. And it takes a while, and being around other people who think positively and speak positively helps a lot. And sometimes you might even need to close your ears to, those around you. If they're speaking negatively around you, don't let them curse you. So anyway, I just wanted to leave that with you guys today and hope that helps. All right. So for today's meeting, we are going to go around and we are going to say, why do you come to this meeting? Why do you come to meetings like this? Even if you go to other meetings on the internet, in Zoom or whatever, why do you come to meetings? So Kevin, go ahead.
Well, I come to have just the camaraderie and the community aspect. And normally at this time, I'm working with a client for the transformational breathwork coaching. And so I'm busy during this time of day on Saturdays. But, they had something come up and they had to go to their parents in Helsinki. And then I was having issues with my internet connection, which is all resolved now, thank God. But so I'm here and I'm like, oh, geez, I could come here because, I haven't been here to one of these in a minute. So, and as going back to you talking about watching your mind and your thoughts and your speech, all of our speech, well, should be starting as a thought first, and not just be speaking, blah, 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 without, thinking about it. But I've been doing this transformational breathwork coaching for 7 weeks now. And with the method of breathwork, it goes and it causes a slowing of the circulation to the frontal lobe, which is the monkey mind, all the insane chatter that we do where we're talking and questioning and analyzing and all of that. And so, these are, 45 minutes to an hour and a half sessions that I'm running with people. And so for the first few minutes, people's ego mind, the frontal lobe goes and say, "Oh no, we can't do this. Oh wait, I gotta go pee. Oh, I got this other thing I have to do," and then, but after about 20 minutes of the breathing, it slows down, and it turns into kind of a still meditation where you're just doing the mantra of the breath, and it's an amazing state of being. It's called transient hypofrontality.
I love it.
Sounds fancy, but it's just getting quiet in your monkey mind. So
that's incredible. I actually had an experience. It's funny, I was going to message you. I had an experience this week, and it was the first time that I had really experienced breath work. It was a video. It was just a 10-minute video on YouTube. And they did 51 breaths in and out really fast. And I was like, I'm going to hyperventilate. And they're like telling me, you're not going to hyperventilate. If you get a little bit dizzy, you're sitting in a chair, you are safe.
Yep.
And I was like, okay. So I did all 51 breaths. And then it was just like this bubble popped of peace. And I was just like, whoa, like, how did I do that in literally 51 seconds, 51. And I breathe all the time. I breathe all day long. Like, what was the difference? But I love that technique. And I'm so excited that you're getting trained in this, because I'm going to pick your brain and I'm going to definitely learn more about that. But awesome. That's an excellent way to get your mind to shut up. Excellent way.
Yep.
That's so cool. So I'm glad. I'm sorry that your schedule changed, but I'm glad that you were able to be here. But on days that you plan to come, why do you come to these meetings? Why do you share your story?
Well, because my story is similar to your story, is inspirational to other people, and I want to be that positive influence to other people, but I also want to receive positive influence, because everybody that's sharing, whether they're just rocking it and owning it, or if they're like slipping and sliding, or I fell back on something and pick myself back up. Any of them are all inspirational to me, and I benefit. It's a two-way street. I can be of benefit to other people, and I receive benefit from other people.
Absolutely. It's my husband uses this word pedagogic, and I have to look it up every time. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it's basically that the learning goes both ways, that the teacher, learns from the student, and the student learns from the teacher, and it's literally goes both ways. But I think that's so true. And the more that I learn, the more I recognize that I need to learn, and that I can learn from everyone. I can even learn from my enemy. I can learn from people who hate me, and it's a difficult, interaction. I learn from them. Anyway, so Becky says she did not hear your story before. So you want to give your story real quick?
I can do the little
one,
the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
Diagnosed with MS in 2011. tried the vegan diet for 8.5 years because that was the healthy thing, right? And I continued to decline, and I started losing brain mass. I got a bunch of scars on my brain, lesions, active lesions, and then through like whole big story. But eventually in May of 2021, I went high fat carnivore. Well, I went carnivore. I thought I was doing high fat because I was still, brainwashed by the vegan thing. It's like, oh, I'm eating a bunch of saturated fat. And and so and so I was like, of course I'm going to be having a bunch of fat because I'm eating a bunch of meat. And Emily was the one who said, oh dear, no, no, no. You really need to eat fat. And I was like, okay. And went from being wheelchair bound to being and having to take the motorized scooter in the grocery store to being able to walk around the neighborhood and being able to maintain my sanity because I was on that bipolar, and I was rapid shifting bipolar where I would like wake up really good and manic or hypomanic, and then by 12 o'clock I would be wanting to kill myself, and then I'd be back. It was just a constant up and down. So
yes, and now you're stabilized and knocking it out of the park. And I love it whenever you post your meals because I'm like, my people, like I eat that way. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. And thank you for being here. And I cannot wait to learn more from you.
Pleasure.
All right. So I'm going to just call on everybody. So, Yasmin, Shelly, Becky, whoever, if you guys don't want me to call on you to speak, then you can put it in the chat. But I'm going to call on everybody and just see if they'll say why they come to these meetings. So Ricardo, why do you come to these meetings?
Well, for inspiration, to keep on this fight with MS. And yeah, just to boost the energy. I get a lot of positive energy from these meetings. Yeah. That's
awesome. And you are so consistent. And even whenever like you're going to miss, like I believe you had the flu or something, and you sent me a message and you said, I'm not going to make it. And so I love that. I love that accountability that that I'll notice, number one, and then number two, that it's just part of your schedule. It's part of your plan, to do this. And I'm so grateful that you get so much out of it. And I really am blessed, by having you here and hearing your story as you continue to thrive.
Yes. Thank you. And appreciate it.
I'm not really familiar with everybody's kind of healing process. A few, of course, maybe just a sentence about what you recovered from, Ricardo, or what you're working on trying to recover from.
MS, multiple sclerosis, primary progressive MS.
Yeah. And you want to say basically the process that you've had, that you're feeling better?
Yes, I am feeling better, feel stronger, I feel more lucid. When I did my MRI to the brain, basically it came out that the lesions are fading off or shrinking.
Amazing.
The spine though needs to be worked on, especially my lower lumbar area, lower back. But everything else, I think the basic is being taken care of. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. And I love you shared with me that, you had kind of a baseline where you were doing this and you were like, I don't think it's really working. Went back to eating some other foods. And then you quickly were like, nope, I felt better. I was more clear mentally. I think you said lucid. I was more lucid.
Yes, I am. I still am. It's only getting better. I feel stronger. I feel I can do anything.
That's amazing.
the walking needs to still be worked on, but everything is just going well, going terrifically.
That's so incredible. And you know, healing is a process. But I love that you shared your, you know, your back and forth, because it is a process. It's not just this linear, or health is not linear. It's this up and down path. And you know, Kevin didn't give us the extended version, but he's had, you know, regressions as well. But he knew the path. He knew that where he was feeling best. And so I'm so glad to have you here every week, Ricardo.
Thank you, Emily.
Awesome. So Tom is my most faithful attendee. Come rain, come shine, come hospitalization, come quadruple bypass. He's here. He's here. He's here. He's here.
Mhm.
So Tom, why do you come to these meetings?
I was thinking about it while everybody was talking, and there's a bunch of reasons. The main reason is that I'm scared to death that I'm going to lose what I have, which is I found the path to good health, albeit it took me 62 years to find it. You know, why, you know, what happened to me, why I got here, because I was just doing what everybody else does in the country and in most of the world. And that's follow our normal food pyramid or way of eating. And I mean, we've all noticed over the years, people are just getting fatter and fatter, and we're like, oh, that's just the way things are. But and then I didn't really think about it until until I was faced with, you know, mortality. I kind of knew I was, you know, that death was going to be coming to me soon if I didn't do something. And I ended up being right about that. But coming here, you know, of course, you guys are amazing. Your stories are amazing and inspirational. I had a completely different situation than you guys did, but I found you by looking at a video of somebody that had similar situations in it. But it just made total sense. The more I thought about it, how taking certain foods out of your diet can actually, or the diet is what's actually making you sick. And we all knew that, you know, that like drinking alcohol or eating sugar food, we knew that it was bad for us, but we just kept doing it because when we were addicted to it, but we didn't realize.
And that's
just
what
how
everybody
bad.
else was doing.
Exactly, they're still doing it today. And when I listened, and it just hit me like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. And I knew instinctively that I would be able to do like carnivore because one, I love meat. But the fact that I could eat until I was full, not worrying about having to skimp on food, and so that made it easier for me. But coming to the meetings, it makes me, of course, the accountability thing. I'm afraid that if I don't do it, then I'm just going to say I'll make an excuse for the next time and the next time. Just like when you do binge eating, you say, I'm just going to do it this time. And the next thing you know, you've eaten a whole cake or whatever. So that's the same principle. And I will tell you that the time Saturday at noon Eastern time, 11 o'clock Central is a terrible time for me because I'm always doing stuff. I'm like constantly working on the yard or whatever, doing stuff. Like yesterday, I did the yard Thursday evening just so I can have some time. Because I knew I was going to have to attack the garage today. I'm literally right in the middle of doing stuff, and I'm going to paint the floor of the garage, do that stuff. But I'm going to stop at noon, and I'm going to spend an hour with you guys because it's that important to me. My wife doesn't say anything about it because she knows that, you know, talking to you, you know, makes me keep going, and this all helps me. And if somebody can hear my story and hear how successful, you know, this way of, you know, using food to heal yourself by understanding which foods affect you in a negative way. And if people hear that, you're going to save lives all over the place. And I think this kept me alive until I had my surgery, and I'm convinced of that. I'm hoping that it'll keep me alive for many years to come. If it doesn't, though, I sure as heck tried hard, and it's not because I didn't try. So that's why I'm here.
That's awesome. And you are such an inspiration.
Plus, I love you
Tom.
guys. Plus I love you guys, and
We love
you
you
guys are
too.
awesome.
We love you too. Thank you so much. And your support it does not go unnoticed. Like I just it really carries me. It really carries me, the support that you and many people give me and Amy. So it's working and it's powerful. And I learned so much from you. Like, oh my gosh, when you go down the rabbit hole and you go into some of those studies, I'm just like I learned so much from you guys. Learned so much. I love you too, Ricardo. So Amy, you don't have to be here. You have your own meetings, you have your own YouTube channel, you have your own everything. Why do you come to these meetings?
Honestly, I come to these meetings because I learn so much from you guys. And that probably doesn't seem real, but you guys don't know the power that you have. You don't know how much of an impact you can have on other people. And so when you share your stories, you share your struggles, you share what you've learned just for yourself, and you don't think it's a big deal, like it shakes the foundations of my understandings. So yes, I come and I'll get asked questions and I'll answer what I've heard. And honestly, most of the time, guys, I'm word vomiting exactly what I learned. Like I read it, I understand it, and so I just regurgitate it back to you guys. But to hear from you guys real life experiences and what you found for yourself and your revelations, it is incredible. And it affects me in ways that I can't even put into words. So I love to be here to help, but that's not why I come. I come because I get to know you. I get to see things from different perspectives, because if I'm going to have any kind of a label, I would be the poster child for what didn't work. And yet I get to see what worked for Ricardo, and I get to see what worked for Tom, and I get to see what worked for Kevin, and I get to see what worked for Emily, because I may come across someone who needs exactly Emily's plan or exactly Kevin's plan or exactly Ricardo's plan. I just don't know. And I've really kind of stepped into this role that I think I've been called to, which is an interpreter and pointing people in the right direction. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm seeing. Have you checked out this path over here? And I've checked out that path and it didn't work for me, but it doesn't mean that it won't work for that person. And so that's why I'm so like all inclusive with everybody, whatever works for you, because carnivore is not the goal. Health is the goal. And if carnivore gets you there, I got to say I'm a little jealous, because I wish that it was that simple for me. Just eat meat and get better. But my path is different. My journey is different. And so I want to support everybody in whatever it is that you're doing that's working for you. And I learn from a lot of what you guys have to say. Your revelations, sometimes they just hit like lightning. And we will end up taking it. Emily and I will go make an entire video out of it because it's so powerful. But things that you guys say, they will actually run through my mind throughout the day. And God will bring it back to me and he'll be like, remember when so-and-so said this? And be like, oh, yes. He'd be like, oh, look at that. It's applying right now. I'm like, oh, yes, I love it. So I love being here to be available to answer questions if someone has a question and they want to understand something of the science or whatnot. But I get so filled from these meetings, and I so appreciate everyone who has made the commitment, not only to Emily to be here, but to themselves, because it's hard. This world is so noisy and there's shiny, flashy things going on all around us. And we're like, oh, I should go do this instead. I should go do this instead. I have to do this. Let me tell you, once a month, I have to go pick up or drop off my stepkids. And I have to drive all the way down to Iowa, exchange them and drive back. So I miss most of the topics, when I'm here, I can't really participate. It's probably not safe because I'm usually the one driving. So I have to miss those Saturdays. They feel like just these dreary, empty, boring, nothing Saturdays. I mean, yeah, I'm exhausted from being in the car, but it's like 2 weeks without seeing you guys. And it feels like this void that just kind of sucks my energy and it starts to suck my joy away.
Oh.
So I'm probably just going to come no matter what, whether I'm driving or not. I'll have the camera off and I'm just going to listen.
Or watch the replay.
Yeah. And I wonder, I'm like, what did I miss? Like, what did I miss? What funny thing was Tom going to put in the chat that I missed? Because he and Larry are hilarious in the chat together. Once the two of them get going, they're like, it's hilarious. But so I think no matter what, I'm just going to come and put it on because it fills me up so much. It's the recharge from my battery. So that is why I come. I love all of you guys. I love seeing your progress. I love each and every one of your personalities for different reasons, because we're not all made the same. How boring would it be if we were? So we all have our own journey, our own path. And I feel honored and privileged to be able to see each and every one of you as you go through yours.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And my favorite is whenever I see Amy on camera and she's over here, like I can see her typing, because I know that Amy is never like sending an email or doing such. She's not distracted. Amy is focused. And if she's typing, she has an inspiration, she has an idea, and she's typing notes for the next video that she's going to make. And so I love that you use everything as your playground to learn from.
Mm-hmm. I'm just
And
so happy to be here.
good. And I gave you a new name that came to me while you were talking. You are a multilingual interpreter tour guide. So we're walking down the path and we're all speaking different languages, and you are multilingual. You can understand what everybody is saying, and then you can interpret it. But then you're a tour guide and you're pointing people in the right direction. Like, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? So you're a multilingual interpreter tour guide.
I just put it in my notes. Now I have it.
That's who you are. I've been saying for over a year now that you're my interpreter, but you're so much more than that. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being my friend, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely going to get to you, Becky, but I want to hear from Larry. Larry, you don't have to get on camera if you don't want to, but I would love to hear why you come to this, because if you guys don't know, Larry is my dad. And Dad, you could easily just be like, all right, here's your cute little meeting, whatever. I don't have to be there. But you choose to come to these and support me. Why?
Well, this meeting has a good return on investment of your time. So we're learning a lot from each other. And, the path to learning is pretty tough sometimes by yourself. But when you can share everybody's experience, life experience, things that work, that's the thing that you're always trying to find. And I know Amy has done all these experiments that I wouldn't have time to learn, so I borrow from her experience. And then Tom is an inspiration because who has ever done that? So few people have found what it takes to save their life, and besides, he's funny. And then Kevin is an amazing story like yours, Emily, so, and then, Ricardo's showing so much improvement over the last year. It's just really, it's just fun to watch, so I get to be back here and watch it all and then produce it so that you guys can watch it again. But I get a good ROI on this. So
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dad. And for those of you that don't know, these meetings wouldn't happen, but they would probably happen, but they wouldn't get up on YouTube. if it wasn't for Larry. And so thank you so much for every week for doing what needs to be done for the editing and to put it up on YouTube, because I get emails all the time from people who say that they watch the replays and that they couldn't make it to the meeting because it was inconvenient. It was in the middle of their Saturday, but that they come and they watch the replay. Larry is the great and powerful Wizard of Oz behind the scene, working the technical magic. Yes, he is. And we do appreciate you so much, Larry. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
I have a question for your dad, Larry.
Yeah.
Have you had any health? And has the coming to these meetings influenced your health in any way? Your health journey?
Yeah, so yeah, it makes you be consistent with the things that work. It's inspiring. So in life, if you get off track, what do? You go back on track. So the meetings are helping you to stay between the ditches. Okay, and you're inspired by other people's success. And so, yeah, I enjoy the progress that everybody's making, and it does influence my own diet and approach to being healthy.
Yeah. And my brother and I are convinced that if my brother hadn't brought this to our family, that we wouldn't still have our father with us. So it literally saved his life. So we are extremely grateful. Becky, I would love to hear how or why you are still in this meeting. You've been so faithful and consistent. Why do you come to these meetings, Becky?
Well, I agree with everyone else. It kind of recharges my batteries and gives me a place and a time to come and start rethinking, okay, what's our goals for this week, and just recharge. And I came in search because I had okay. I'm trying to phrase how to put, so I'm feeling,
I know it's so hard because you're like, I have bipolar disorder. Just kidding. I experience the symptoms of bipolar disorder. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
how do you positively frame this?
I know.
Healing and seeing great recovery with bipolar
I love it.
and neuropathy. Those are the three things that I noticed were bothering me. And then I have also working on weight issues. And so I found Emily because Brett Lloyd suggested, because I had weight loss surgery 11 years ago, which was a duodenal switch. And so a lot of things I was watching, I'm like, well, how do I apply these directions for eating to somebody like myself that's malabsorbing so much? And so I was reaching out to different people in the community, like, do you know anybody that's had bipolar or Parkinson's that's doing like a healing from that, or neuropathy? And so Brett Lloyd said, oh, check out Emily Penton. So that's how I got connected with her. Some of you probably know who Brett Lloyd is, the Thankful Carnivore. He's so great. And it was so funny because our daughter lived in Jacksonville for 15 years and he lives in her neighborhood and I never met him. So it's just like, oh my gosh, he was right there. We used to go to Jacksonville from California all the time.
Got it.
But they don't even live there anymore. Anyway, so I'm coming, I'm seeing great healing, and I've met so many people through, like, this person says, talk to that person and that person. So I was off of all bipolar medication for about 5 years now, and I didn't want to take any other medication. But after I had knee surgery 5 years ago, which was replacement, I started having balance issues and Parkinson's syndromes coming out. And so then I'm like, well, I'm not taking any Parkinson's medication because I already got off bipolar medication. I didn't like that. And so through this whole network of people, I've met, his name is called the Bipolar Carnivore. His name is Ron Ressler from Texas. He's really cool too. So he talked about how his journey went with fasting and carnivore. He had so many things. He cured the Parkinson's, bipolar, diabetes, kidney problems. So I'm like, okay, I've got to keep trying. So coming to these groups keeps kind of recharging me because it isn't addictive and it's like a hard thing to do. So come and get recharged, get inspired, and keep on track. And so for me, I have decided, okay, so I had my weight loss surgery reversed so that I could absorb my nutrition. That was making wonderful progress. My skin was really bad. It's healing up. My wounds are healing better. And then through people that are carnivore, they said, try the medication for a while. Let's see if that helps. So in December, I started taking carbidopa levodopa for Parkinson's, and the diet, prayer, these support groups, mindset thinking. I'm back to exercising regularly again. I used to be very athletic. I had dropped it for a year. So everything kind of coming together. I've told you before, my right hand and my right leg were just like, they weren't paralyzed, but they were inoperable. They just sat there and did nothing. So now I've been cooking while we're doing this talk because I'm getting ready to go to a party, and I'm making a chicken casserole, carnivore. And so seasoned with some chilies because it's Cinco de Mayo, but I think that's, So anyway, I'm cooking with my right hand, which I have not been able to do for 5 years.
Wow.
And I had been walking without my cane for about a month, where for 5 years I was using a cane, not because my knee hurt, but because I was going to fall over. And people would say, are you drunk at a party? I'm like, no, I'm just having I'm working on it. And I don't even drink. I've never drank because I just don't like alcohol. But
That's great progress.
drunk, I walk like I'm drunk, and then I'm walking straight. I'm able to. I wasn't able to lift my right arm straight out from my body. I can do that now with 5 pounds. So the progress is just fabulous.
That's
And so
incredible.
getting better. I'm working on things. They're in a progress, and I hope to get better. And then maybe in about a year, hope to start taper off the medication, because they say after about 7 years, it doesn't even work anyway. So I'm hoping my brain will heal. Because I was very malnourished for 11 years. So it's going to take a while, but I'm feeling, oh my gosh, everybody that sees me, they're like, Becky, you look like you were dying and now you're alive. And actually,
Yay.
I got a hold of Dr. Cybus. I had to do a shout out for Dr. Robert Cybus. He's from South Africa.
The carb addiction doctor.
Yeah. And he works in Palm Beach, Florida. He did the reversal surgery for me, and he covered it under Medicare, where 5 years ago, I wanted it reversed and nobody would do it and they wouldn't pay for it. So
That's awesome.
those guys are all, check those people out. And of course, Dr. Ken Berry and Kelly Hogan, I like to listen to them too. So, and Emily and Amy and all of you guys have been so inspirational. And it's like a family. I'll be doing something like, okay, it's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock in California when we watch this. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's a good time for me.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. And I really appreciate what you add to these meetings, Becky. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amy, you had your hand raised. Oh, you're muted.
Yes, I am. I clicked the wrong thing. My bad.
No problem.
Me and technology. So you said you should watch the replay. And then I was like, you know what? Does everyone know where the replays are? So can you tell people how to get to the replays? Because I think that this is one that honestly, a lot of people probably should watch, especially the ones who aren't here. It helps us get to know one another just a little bit more, but then it can give you a really good boost to your why, to hear why other people are here. So how does everyone find the replays?
Yeah. And I think also I've heard people that they will just put it in the background, like while they're doing dishes, while they're doing stuff, if they miss the meeting, just to stay caught up on everything. And it is on YouTube, Inner Clarity. I think it's Emily Penton, Inner Clarity System. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but Larry, there is a playlist that says Saturday Food Support Group. Is that correct, Larry?
Yes, yeah, Saturday Food Support Group. It's also now a playlist by YouTube podcast. So it's classified as a YouTube podcast. So I don't know how that works actually, but if you're looking up podcasts in YouTube, it should come up.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, and I post the last week every week. The first thing I post every week is last week's video. So the link, that is, but yeah, it's very consistent. We've done what, 69 of them?
Yes. Yes. Which is crazy because I have never been consistent in my whole, well, I'm 44 now, but before that, a whole 40 plus years, I've never been consistent with anything. And like, that's why I did so good with getting my master's degree, because it would be for a semester. I could push, take the class, and then I could stop and then take another class. Like I could just it worked for my squirrel brain. I could focus a lot on this subject and then change and focus on another subject and then change and then talk to a different, professor and have a whole different class, whole different curriculum. It worked. But as far as consistently doing the same thing every week, it's just crazy. And so I want to tell you guys why I come to these meetings and why I have these meetings. I really do it a little bit kind of like Tom, to stay on track, because I recognize how powerful consistency is for me, and you guys fuel me. You guys keep me motivated and keep me inspired. And then I also do this because I am just this big giant heart, and it kills me to know that people that are out there in the world that feel alone and that possibly don't have the money to work with me. And it fills my heart whenever I meet them and I can say, come to my free Saturday food support group. I'm always there. There's always a group of people there that are just going to love on you and support you. And so this to me is the answer. It's the be all end all for us to be able to get together and to accept everyone, even if they're keto, even if they're, even if they're vegan. I don't care. If you are eating foods that your body is responding positively to, then I am all about it. I want to support you. I want to protect you and encourage you as you keep going. And it literally fuels me. It fuels me. It keeps me going throughout the day, and it gives me joy. It gives me purpose. And I know that we've been through quite a bit since 2020, and there's been a lot of distancing. There's been a lot of division. And so to have something that we can come together on and that we can support each other is it's so healing in such a time of complete destruction. And so I really get so much out of this. And then I get so much out of the emails that I get, the messages that I get from people that are saying, you know what, I care for my disabled husband all throughout the day, and I can't come to those meetings, but whenever he's asleep, I can watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I will always watch these replays, and I feel so connected to you. I feel so connected to the other people that come to the meeting. And it's magic, guys. It's absolutely magical coming together in these meetings and being able to share love and to share connection and inspiration with people. So thank you for being a part of this magical experience. All right. So anybody have any questions before we go? We've got just a couple more minutes. Any questions, comments, or any update, anything else that you wanted to share? Nope. All right. I think it was an incredible meeting. We said it all. And I'm so excited to come back and see you guys again next week. Bye.